It's officially March, which means it is time to start seeds. I'm a zone 6B gardener, so I'm gonna take you along with my seed starting process today. We're now 10 weeks away from my last frost day. I usually do not put any seeds into the ground or plant anything until after Mother's Day. So I thought I would first show you guys where I am starting my seeds and then let you just come along with me while I start my first round of seeds. I am just in our unfinished basement bathroom, and I have one of these like indoor greenhouses. I bought it off of Amazon for less than $100. Then I just have cheap LED shop lights. Here is the details on that. From what I read, you just want to pay attention to the lumens and make sure that it is a higher number to ensure that you have enough light. 2 years, I have been starting seeds using seed blocking. I love this because it allows me to start a ton of seeds using a little bit of space. This thing right here holds, I think, 20 seeds. 20 seeds. So I can start 20 seeds right here and then block up to this once all of those seeds have germinated. This is just great for space saving, especially for some of those seeds that take a long time to germinate, or for those seeds that just do not germinate well, like they don't have a high germination rate. And then I just have lunch trays that I will put the small soil blocks on. These work great versus these trays because just too big for my little soil blocks. So you need something kind of flat in order to start those seeds and it not be all wonky. The larger ones I will soil block into here, and I'll show you that when we get to that. Also have small plastic pots that I will use in the future for potting up. But for today, we're just going to use my little soil blocker and a seed starting mix. Now, I do not always use a seed starting mix. The only time I use an actual seed starting mix is when I am doing my small soil blocks. Otherwise, I just use regular, like, raised bed soil. One, you get like 3 times as much for half the price. But I have found like the bags of soil just, they have too much bigger organic matter in them for the small soil blocking. For the big soil blocking, I just pick out the bigger stuff and it's totally fine. I am going to plug in my Bridgerton and just bring you guys along with me while I start these seeds. Okay, as far as what seeds I am starting, I have this handy dandy sheet that I just plug in what I want to start, and then I plug in my last frost date, how many weeks before I want to start them, and it tells me. So we are 10 weeks out from my first frost date. So I am going to be starting thyme, snapdragons, peppers, tomatoes, sage, oregano, and eucalyptus this week. Okay, we have my makeshift table here, which is the toilet that needs to get installed in the bathroom. But let's go ahead and I'm gonna walk you through how to soil block. We're gonna take our seed starting mix, and I just have like a plastic container like this that we're going to be working with. Then we need to rehydrate our soil. I'm just gonna add in a little bit of water and give everything a minute to incorporate. I'm gonna stir it around a little bit and I will show you when we kind of have the right texture. Okay, here is our soil. It is now at like a really good consistency. It kind of holds its shape, but it's not like soaking wet. Also kind of know that you have the right texture, because if it's too wet or too dry, we've got our little thing. We'll go ahead, press down, and there we've got our little soil blocks. There is a little better view. So I am just kind of rocking it into my moistened soil. And then I just take the spoon that I used to mix it to kind of make sure it's packed in, scrape off the excess just so that it lays flat. Grab your tray and press down and press down, lift up. That's how easy soil blocking is. So I am going to put on Bridgerton and let you guys just watch me fill up my tray with some soil blocking. Now, another benefit of soil blocking that I didn't mention is this is super great for those plants that don't love root disturbance, because you don't really have to touch anything with the roots when you're blocking them up, when you're transplanting, anything like that. It's a really great way to deal with those plants that just don't like a lot of root disturbance. And it saves so much space. You're not using extra plastics. Overall, the little bit of investment is well worth it in the end, in my opinion. And just like that, I have little seed starting blocks for 180 seeds. I will be back and show you guys how I place the seeds, how I organize these so I don't lose track of which seeds are which. I have all of my seeds that I'm wanting to start laid out. I have a tray of soil blocks. Now I'm just trying to decide how ambitious I want to be. My initial thought, I was going to do like one variety per one of these. But I'm kind of thinking that 20 of one type of tomato is going to be a little bit ridiculous. I told you guys that I would show you kind of how I keep these organized. So I have a piece of paper here that I have like gridded out with the same size squares as I have on my paper here. And as I plant seeds, I will just, usually I do rows, so I'll come down here and mark off rows and just write in what's what. And then to keep everything in order, I have like labeled A, top left corner, and then on my tray here, the top left corner is A. So when I'm looking at these to like transplant and block up, I just orient my paper in the same direction so that I know what is what. Garden plan, so this kind of tells me what I need of each. So looking at this, my plan is to do 12 peppers, and I have 5 varieties of peppers, which means I only need like 2 or 3 of each variety. So I don't need to plant 20 seedlings. I probably would be fine with doing, honestly, probably 5. But my goal is to either give away some seedlings as friends or sell them cheap to people in the area that want some plant start. Realistically, starting 5 of each of my pepper varieties is going to be plenty. I'm probably going to start 10 though. Same thing with my tomatoes. The plan is to have 12 tomato plants, and I think I have 4 varieties that I want to plant, which means again I only need like 2 of each variety of tomatoes. So come with me as I plant each of these. When I'm done, I will show you my little sheet that's all filled out. I am going to start off with my peppers. So these are jalapeno peppers. I have some eyelash tweezers that I use because I find that they're just a little bit easier to pick up my seeds. So I'll just go and I'm setting these seeds right on top here. Now, as far as how deep to plant seeds, my rule of thumb is you just want to think about how big the seed is, and you're going to bury it about twice as big as the seed is. Most of these seeds that I am starting are very small, so they just need to be covered with a tiny bit of soil. If you have a larger seed, you're going to want it to be about 2 times the depth into your soil. There's also usually planting instructions on the back of your packet, but I get lazy and don't want to read every single packet. And I have found that just looking at the size of the seed will really help determine how deep you want it to be buried. Okay, so I have all of my seeds planted. I've got everything filled up. Here is my sheet with everything. I will take a picture of this sheet on my phone just in case, like, while it's down there it gets like wet and I can't read it. I have a backup copy on my phone just so that I make sure to keep everything kind of arranged and organized. These will only stay here for a couple weeks. The peppers usually take a little bit longer to germinate, but as they start sprouting, I will start seeding them up. So they only stay in the small ones for a little bit of time. When I seed them up or block them up to the bigger ones, I then go ahead and laminate this copy just because they stay in those for a lot longer and I don't want to have to like redo it and search for it on my phone. But this one doesn't. So I will show you guys how I set these into my seed starting area and how I kind of take care of them. So let's head back downstairs. Okay, so I have this little mister bottle that I will use to mist the seedlings just so that nothing gets too awfully wet in here. I like to cover with one of these plastic trays. It just kind of keeps moisture inside of the seedlings. These lights are, it's not touching this, but it's not actually touching, but it's very close because you want the light to be as close to the seedlings as possible. And then I also have a heat mat, a seedling heat mat. This is not necessary at all, but especially for picky things like peppers and tomatoes, I find that the germination mat just really helps with germination, makes it a little bit more even and faster. So I will come down, I will check these every day. If they need a little more moisture, I'll spritz them with a little bit more moisture, but that is it. So that is all of my things that I do when I'm starting seeds. This is my first round. Let me know if you want to see what I'm planting in 2 weeks at my 8-week before frost date kind of seedlings, and I will link any of the products that I used today down in the description, so check them out, and I hope this was helpful for you.